Hi, everybody. I'm Mel Dorr, Chicago psychic medium and intuitive consultant, the Aloha Shirt Psychic. And I'm so excited because I've got Kevin in the house. Hi, Kevin.
Hey everyone.
Um, and a newcomer to our community, Adam. Adam is an astrologer. And welcome, Adam.
Hello, everyone.
Hey. Oh, you see, you got the way. That's good. All right. So Kevin, if they want to contact you, how can they contact you for a reading? And how can they go to your YouTube channel?
My YouTube channel is Kevin's Loving Vibrations, and my email is Kevin singular. It's kevinlovingvibration@gmail.com. So it's not plural. It's just a singular Kevin.
And Adam,
I have that in my about section on my YouTube channel as well.
Perfect. And Adam, how do they contact you?
Yeah, so my YouTube is Adam Stargazing Astrology. And my email contact is Adam Astro, that's ADAMASTRO 777 @gmail.com.
Perfect. Welcome. I've just met Adam for the first time tonight, but I watched the collaboration with Kevin and yourself with Adam and Kevin and I said to Kevin, that was really good. Let's get him on. So here we are.
Yeah, Adam was great, and I thought it was really cool to get a psychic intuitive approach and an astrology approach to some of the things going on.
Most of the really, really good astrologers, they're delineating the chart, they're reading the chart, but they're also kind of getting their own psychic vibes on it as well. And I kind of had the feeling that that's what Adam was doing. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, most definitely. I look at the chart and then I analyze it, and then I see certain trends, and then from those trends, I make certain assumptions, based on what I see as far as the astrological symbols.
Now, as we go along tonight, and we do some of this, a lot of astrologers will just do astrological terms and it's kind of, but Kevin is gonna, not Kevin, I'm sorry, Adam is going to explain what they mean. So this way, you'll kind of get a little lesson in astrology as well. All right. Kevin, what sign are you?
I'm a Leo.
And what are you, Adam?
I'm a Virgo.
You're Virgo?
Yeah.
I'm an Aries, 1 degree, March 22nd, and I'm a Virgo riser. So you can explain what a rising sign is. Go ahead.
Sure. So if you imagine 3 circles, right? So the innermost circle, a circle, you would draw a circle, a secondary circle, and then a third circle. The outermost circle of the moon, sun, and rising combination is the rising. And the rising is more how you're perceived by other people.
Okay, so I'm Virgo riser, and I've got 3 planets in Scorpio.
Okay.
And my chart is all fire and water. I think I've got 1 air sign and no earth signs at all. That's why I'm so flighty. People say I need to be grounded. I go, yeah, okay, next case. Like that's gonna happen. All righty then. So, okay, so what is the natal sign?
So the natal sign is the same thing as the natal chart. So that is the chart that is put forth when you were born. So as soon as you're born, you take your first breath into this world, and that acts as like a psychological key lock that that is your natal chart, and it's it really indicates your psychological propensities, your habits, your patterns, your past karma, your probable future karma. So that whole combination is the natal chart.
So the natal sign is the sign that you were born under, in other words.
Yeah. So that would also be called, known in popular Western astrology as someone's sun sign.
Yes, your sun sign, correct.
Yeah. So I would be a sun sign Virgo, Kevin would be a Leo, and then you'd be an Aries.
Aries, that's we lead the band. We don't want to march in it.
Yeah, Aries is wonderful. It's that cardinal fire energy, that gets everything, that gets that gets everything up, that gets everything going. Aries is the real pioneer of the astrological chart. And without that energy, not much would really, have that trailblazing fire. It's wonderful energy for, taking the initiative.
That's an Aries.
Yeah.
My Venus is an Aries too. God forbid.
Okay. Yeah, and then Venus is more about, like the
Love.
aspect of relationship,
And your love nature, right?
Yeah, so I would say someone with a Venus in Aries is really just all about having fun, having adventures, having, travel adventures. Someone with a Venus in Aries would be like, hey, let's go to Mexico and go scuba diving.
That's me. I took up skydiving when I was 45.
Wow. Yeah.
In fact, I've got a tour that I do my psychic adventure tours, and I just take tour operators, they put the tours together, and they put my picture on it. It's their tour, but then they give me a commission, and if I get 15 people, I'll get a free trip. But I always wanted to go to see the mountain gorillas. So in 2023, I've got a tour going to Uganda, however you say it. And we're going to hike in the jungle anywhere from 2 to 6 hours, maybe 8, to see the mountain gorillas. And I'm so excited.
Oh, wow. That sounds wonderful.
Talking about adventure, right? And then some days
Yeah.
we'll hike and see the chimpanzee. So each day we're on a photo safari. It's going to be so cool. And this summer in July the 20th, I've got a yacht tour going up the Croatian coast. So a lot of people are fearful that the war in Ukraine will spill over and The Ukrainians aren't going to give up. They're going to continue to fight. Croatia's 1,500 miles away, pretty much from Ukraine. So I don't really think it's going to spill over much. So
Yeah.
No,
that's
I'm with you, Mel. I think it'll be good.
I'm afraid of heights, but in 2019, my husband and I were in Belize, and we were ziplining through the jungle, climbing pyramids. So that's
Wow.
a picture I take her, right?
Wow. Oh yeah, that's definitely Sun. That's definitely Venus. The Sun sign also stands for the zest for life and the vitality. So there's this real zest for life that people with the Sun sign in Aries have.
Right.
This natural adventuresome zest.
I took up scuba diving at 48.
Wow, that's incredible. And there's also this sense of this kind of fearless warrior, because it's ruled by the planet Mars. And so each sign is ruled by a certain planet. So you get the energy of fire, right, which is Aries. And then you get the energy of Mars, which the planet that it's ruled by, and it creates this almost warrior type of vibe too, which is part of the Aries experience.
Everybody go on my Facebook page, just Mel Dorr. I've got a baseball cap on, and you'll find out what I feel about Putin. But if I said it on here, I'd be put in YouTube jail. So I don't want to go to YouTube jail. Yeah, we're clearly outspoken, that's for sure. Wow, this is very interesting. Have you ever thought about teaching, Adam? You'd be an excellent teacher.
Thank you. I started my YouTube page a couple weeks ago, and being a sun sign Virgo, right, I'm kind of all about the analysis and breaking things down to put them back together in a way that people can understand. So I would absolutely love to teach astrology classes, classes that combine astrology and sort of a sense of like well-being too, bringing astrology into an everyday use in a practical way.
So everybody, we'll have Adam on again, as well as Kevin, of course. And when he starts to teach online classes, hint, hint.
I was going to say, when you brought up teaching, Mel, I could definitely see that for Adam. I think he'd be a really great teacher. I think that would be a good direction for you to go in.
There's that Aries nature of me again.
Thank you.
And isn't it funny too, Mel, because you just started your membership page, and I remember when we first talked, I said I think that would be a good road for you to go through, and because I think you're interested in teaching more as well, right?
I love teaching, In fact, I was on the board of directors at Infinity Foundation and a teacher up there for 21 years. And I just recently retired from up there. That was a leading health and holistic education center in the Midwest. But I was just more interested because I've got a nice size office and getting groups together there and doing online teaching. So yay. Maybe we should all put together a class. Kevin, you should teach tarot. I could teach intuition and you could teach astrology. How's that?
Hey.
Perfect. All right. So as a Virgo, one more question.
Sure.
We'll go on the ascendant. So I sometimes get hung up in analysis paralysis. In other words, I overanalyze everything. As a Virgo, do you ever do that?
Yeah. So what's really interesting is having the Virgo on the ascendant, right? It's a different energy than like the sun sign Virgo or the moon sign Virgo. So what happens is the ascendant, it divides the upper and lower hemispheres of the astrological chart. The upper hemisphere is the more conscious, rational mind, and the lower hemisphere is the more unconscious, kind of irrational and personal mind. So that being said, a Virgo ascendant is really looking to really refine and balance out those two hemispheres. And it is really, it's very independent upon the individual, as to the other configuration of planets in their chart as to what exactly they're balancing out. But that really is one key of the ascendant to balance out those two hemispheres.
Mine must be pretty screwed up.
Well, this is generally what happens, having that Aries Virgo combination, right? Aries is all about, let's just dive right in. Let's go in for the adventure. Let's dive right in. And then Virgo's always pulling back and looking to analyze, looking to refine, and really is all about like, I need my P's and Q's in order before I can go forth and do this.
Well, some things, but I just jump in first and analyze it later.
There you go, right? Use the sun sign first and then go to your rising.
Plus I got 3 planets in Scorpio. Anyway, okay, shall we get started?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I went on and I asked people to post questions for tonight. So y'all, my Kentucky accent's coming back, y'all. So if I look down, it's because I'm reading on my community board. It's on my iPhone. So that's why I keep looking down so I can get the questions. Okay. So we'll put this one to you first, Kevin, and then we'll go to Adam and then myself. Okay. Jamie Johnson asked, I call him Poopkin. Would Poopkin really use nuclear weapons? Are there safeguards in place to prevent that from happening?
I think if Putin had his way, he would use them, but I do believe that there are safe places. I don't think he would be able to use them. But lately, when I've been picking up on energy, it's just extremely unfocused, really unbalanced, extremely paranoid energy. So, yeah, I mean, somebody that's acting like that, I don't think would have an issue using them, but there would be people around him to stop him.
Okay.
I'm not seeing any nuclear weapons being used.
Okay, Adam.
Yeah, what I'm seeing with Putin, it's pretty similar as to what Kevin is saying. I'm definitely seeing a desire to want to be the autocrat of the world, but that is obviously not going to happen. So what I'm seeing in Putin's transits, and again, the transits are those are the planets that are transiting in relation to his natal chart, which is also his birth chart. He has some heavy aspects with
transit would mean the planet that's going out of his sun sign.
Yeah, well, so the astrology chart, right? It's a circular chart, and there's 9 planets, and those planets are always changing configurations, and the transit chart is the chart of the planets that is constantly moving in relation to his birth chart, which is staying the same.
I see. Yeah, because the natal chart sticks the day you're born.
Yeah. So what I'm seeing with his transit chart is there are a lot of Saturn aspects that are indicating that he is going into further isolation and that resources are going to get harder and harder for him to get.
Now, what does Saturn mean exactly? The planet Saturn, what does it stand for?
Saturn is all about duties, responsibilities, and karmic lessons.
Lessons to be learned.
Yeah, the lessons that are to be learned through difficulties and challenges. So what I'm seeing here is that Saturn is not in his favor right now. So the transits indicate a long road of isolation and people pulling away, and him sort of more pulling into himself more as he gets less and less support.
So Saturn isn't also the benefic, it's tearing down, rebuilding, and all of that stuff, correct?
Yeah. So Saturn rules the 3D structures of the material world. It's also known as the time tester. So Saturn really tests one's ability to be able to sustain. It's also, again, the Lord of Karma.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, my guides tell me that if he tries to push the button, because I think he's very ill, and like there's a movie about Hitler during the last 7 days of the war when he was in his bunker. And, you know, he was like, I don't care if the German people die, let them all die, we all die. And then he was still delusional, thinking that he had all these troops and his generals and everything. And so at the end, I don't know what changed his mind, but he shot himself. And so, you know, I think with Putin, if he tried, and Hitler's, a lot of his own generals went against him. And I think Putin is like hidden himself away, just like Hitler did in a bunker somewhere. But my guides tell me if he tried to push the button, you know, to him, it doesn't mean if he lives or dies, just like with Hitler. But the people around Putin, like his generals and stuff like that, they don't want to die. And so I think if he went to push the button, they would stop him. I think they take to push the button or something. So I don't know if there's, I think they have safeguards. It takes 3 people or something. I forget how it goes in Russia, but I'm not seeing nuclear annihilation. I mean, if it worked with Putin, he'd do it.
Right. That's what I'm kind of feeling as well, Mel. Those around him, I don't think would allow that to happen, because Putin might not care if, you know, the whole world blows up, but the people around him do.
That's right. He wants total world control. You're right, Adam and Kevin. Now, let me ask you another question. I don't see Putin around. I see him gone. So I don't know if they take him out. I don't know. But, you know, I mean, he's closed down all the news media in Russia. He's feeding them his propaganda, but the Russian people are protesting as well. So I'll start with you, Adam, then we'll go to Kevin. What does this chart show about his longevity?
So Putin has a lot of his astrological planets in his birth chart in the 12th house. And a hallmark aspect of planets in the 12th house is the act of self-undoing.
Oh, way.
So what we're seeing here, we're seeing almost an inevitable self-doing. He also has the 8th house strongly linked to the 12th house in his chart. He has the planet Uranus, which is all about change and upsets in the 8th house, and the 8th house indicates other people's resources. So what he has used here, he has used other people's time, effort, resources, and energy to his disposal. And now that that's not working anymore, for example, the US, right, pulling out of the oil and gas, right? He's starting to have these kind of breakdowns and meltdowns, as indicated by the Saturn, which is the structure next to the planet Neptune in the 12th house. So his structures are like dissolving in front of him.
Yes. I find pleasure in seeing that. Here's to Putin, read between the lines. I don't want to go to YouTube jail. Read the book. All right. So, okay. We didn't ask Kevin. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, well, I can definitely agree with Adam. I feel like, he's starting to unravel, and yeah, it's almost it's the demise of Putin. I haven't seen if he's taken out or if he's hiding in a bunker. I think it is getting to that time where I don't think he has a whole lot of time left. It feels like that transitional period, and it's really interesting too because I had Deanne and Kathleen on my channel this week, and they did a show together about the Ides of March with Julius Caesar being stabbed and betrayed. And they were getting a lot of hits like history might repeat itself with Putin. And I could definitely see him being taken out. I don't think the oligarchs are very happy with him. I mean, their money's worthless now. Whatever money that they have access to with sanctions. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's betrayed.
Well, I'm sure they're getting it through backdoor channels like China and things like that. And through
Sure, but I'm sure that they're still not very happy about the situation.
But if you think about it, we're used to our cable TV, our social media, going to the grocery store, buying pretty much what we want, going to the bank and getting what we want. And so people in Russia have really been westernized with lifestyle. And now all of a sudden that's gone. And so, whoa, people are here worried about gas prices, but I look at it this way. I would rather pay $30 a gallon than to put one drop of Putin's oil in my gas tank. So people are saying it's price gouging. I think it's about supply and demand, but anyway, I don't know what gas prices are in Russia, but I don't know how much gas he has, but people say he wants Ukraine for the resources. I think he wants Ukraine because he didn't like the Ukrainians, and he wants to get the countries in the old Soviet Union back. So for him, it's about power and control. That's what I see.
But I think that the resources as well would be a plus, and I think he's interested in trade routes.
Well, the resources mean something, but what if nobody buys them?
Yeah.
So, okay. Thank you. Okay. Kevin.
Yeah.
Will the war spread to other parts of Europe?
I'm not feeling it. I feel like it will stick in Ukraine. And what I'm feeling and what I'm hoping for is I think it's not going to be a years on conflict. I think it's going to be, months, maybe 6 months. I'm really hoping. But I'm not seeing Putin able to move out of Ukraine into other countries.
Adam, what about you?
So what I'm seeing with Putin's transits, again, I'm seeing that Saturn aspect, which is really heavy and which can indicate a lot of delay and a lot of frustration. I'm also seeing another aspect in his transit chart. It's the planet Venus, which rules relationships. It's opposed the planet Uranus. So this indicates instability in his relation to other people backing out of deals, people being upset. So this is going to lead him most likely into frustration, and combined with that Saturn, there's going to be most likely a lot of loss for him.
I see him as being paranoid, almost like Hitler at the end. And I mean, there's something wrong with him. He's from the old Soviet system, the KGB, but I mean, if you look at him, he looks like he's on steroids or something. But
I just read on that, and I felt that he was using steroids. But I also feel something cognitive that's going on up there too.
Well, steroids can make you paranoid.
Yeah.
But I see illness around him. So, all right. This is the big one. That was from Jamie Johnson. Janet T. Adam, will Putin use nuclear weapons? I'm sorry, not nuclear weapons, chemical weapons.
I'm seeing a no here. And the reason why is because I'm seeing that Putin, his 12th house aspects and his Saturn transit, I'm seeing him kind of backing himself into a wall of further loneliness and further isolation and further depression really quickly. And I'm seeing him not being supported by those around him. And I'm also seeing here that there's a good chance that he does not perhaps have the power to be able to do such a thing when he has no support by anyone else. So my answer would be no.
Devin?
I think he would love to. Sad to say, he's so negative and nasty energy to touch into. I don't think he would have an issue with doing that. I'm not feeling that. I really hope that that's right, because that would just be awful. But I'm not picking up him using chemical weapons.
Well, the frightening part to me is that there are chemical weapons in Ukraine.
No.
And if he takes those over, I think he would use them in a nanosecond.
Oh, yeah.
And so that means it would spread to maybe other countries, not many. But if he does that, then he is going to, that's when NATO's going to step in. And, NATO's already got troops around Poland and all around Ukraine. So it's something that he won't win. I do think, though, I see something chemical going on, unless something happens and they just don't tell about it. But it will come out that they tried something. But it's not going to be to the degree that everybody thinks. That's what I'm saying. So I don't mean to disagree with you all, but
yeah.
But I hope you all are right. I hope I'm wrong. Yeah. Okay. It says, what will happen with the planes Poland has for Ukraine to use? I don't know if they got planes. I don't know what's going on. They need them, but
I think what they were doing was Poland was saying that they would send their planes to the U.S. To give to Ukraine, and the U.S. was saying that they weren't doing that. With that, I'm not feeling NATO stepping in with troops, but I do see a lot of aid, and I do think that they will eventually decide to send them planes. Not right at the moment, but I think here soon that they will decide to do that.
They do it before it's too late. Adam, what do you think?
Yeah, so I actually really agree with Kevin. Understanding Biden from his astrology chart, he has this very peace-loving side, as indicated in a lot of his very harmonious aspects in his natal chart. So I believe that there's still this part of him that's sort of looking at it perhaps as his perspective, like, I'm perhaps hoping that it can kind of resolve on its own without getting too crazy. But as time goes on, and if Putin, keeps on really laying into Russia, I believe that NATO will most likely probably have to step in and to kind of call Putin's bluff.
You see him calling troops in, Adam?
Maybe open up airspace, perhaps.
Yeah, like no-fly zone.
Yeah, because if you're really looking at it from this perspective now, Putin he has so much power, and no one is really standing up to this power, because the US and Europe, they don't want to get in a war, and that's very understandable. No one wants that. However, though, it's almost like right now it's like Putin versus the world, and how long are we going to go on letting this happen?
Well, United States has 100,000 troops over there, I think. There's a lot of troops. Poland has a lot. And so these people aren't going to let happen in Europe what happened under Hitler, when Hitler marched in the Czech Republic, or the Czechoslovakia in those days, because he said there were German-speaking people and their ancestors, and they were being treated poorly. So he used that excuse, and nobody did anything. And then he went on and took over Poland, and that's what started World War II in Europe. I don't think they'll let that happen again. I think that they're going to cut them off at the pass. And Putin really sorely underestimated the Ukrainian people, because they will not give up. They're not going to stop. And so I see airplanes being flown by Ukrainian pilots, and that big line of tanks that's there, I see from the air those being exploded. And I've got a funny feeling, my guides are showing me, that many of the Russian troops will go on the Ukraine side.
Oh, that's interesting.
Maybe interesting. I can definitely see that happening. And also understanding Ukraine's chart. Should I talk a little bit about their chart?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so Ukraine has an Aquarius moon in their chart. So the moon is that which sets the tone. And an Aquarius moon is all about democratic principles. It's all about humanity. It's all about equality and wanting things fair. Another hallmark aspect of their astrology chart is they have Pluto sitting in the position of power, which is the highest point in the chart, which is called the midheaven. Putin also has Pluto sitting on the midheaven, and their Pluto aspects are square each other. And a square creates crisis and it creates tension. And Pluto is all about power and it's all about survival. So they're sort of having to, play out this really, really intense survival game. And it's not going to be an easy battle.
Yeah. I just got a flash that the Pentagon sent Stinger missiles to Ukraine. So,
yeah, I definitely agree. I feel NATO's going to step up more in sending weapons and in airplanes. I don't see troops, though. I think that they are going to toe that really carefully because the only difference, now between World War II and now is, Russia has nuclear weapons and that's what it is. If we got into a full out war with Russia and got involved, it would be World War III. It would be nuclear. I'm not seeing that. There would be a lot of devastation and disaster with that.
It would be the end of humankind. Einstein said, I don't know how the third world war will be fought, but the fourth one will be fought with sticks and stones.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And, Mel, what you said about the Ukrainian people really having to take initiative, they have a really strong first house in their chart. And the first house is the house that rules Aries and it rules Mars. And it's about really having to be a trailblazer and really having to take things into your own hands without following someone and without having someone tell you what to do. So they're really being forced now to rise to the occasion of their first house aspect.
And he is a real hero too, He's really stood up to the plate. Back to Biden, I think people thought that Biden was weak and a fluffy white kitten, but he's showing everybody that he's a tough meatball. And so not to underestimate Biden. Putin, he'd planned this for years. I'm sure that he was colluding with Cheeto head Trump. Yeah. But, the problem is he just underestimated Ukraine and he didn't strategically plan it well because the execution of it has really sucked. And I think the other thing against Putin is because all the news media from the whole world is showing all these innocent people dying. Come on, he bombed a maternity hospital. I know China and India kind of don't, I don't know.
They're kind of towing. They're towing it. They're not trying to take a side. They take both sides.
Correct. But, he's got everybody in the world from seeing those media things and pretty much against him. And my guides are telling me, even though he shut down, a lot of the social media and TV stations and radio stations in Russia, I see Radio Free Europe starting to broadcast so he can't jam it. So the Russian people are going to be able to hear what's going on the radio. And so, thank goodness that the media is showing what's going on there, even though it's an atrocity that, world opinion is even against him. Even a lot of the Republicans can't stand him. So.
Yeah, it's interesting because you've really seen a shift. At first, you were seeing a lot of Republicans siding with Putin and give him praise, and it's not a popular opinion. So you're seeing them slowly, shift what they were talking about.
Well, Kremlin Carlson, if he likes it so well, he should go over there.
Right.
I also think what's really ironic about this is that Putin's North Node, which stands for your karmic direction, is in Aquarius. And so it seems like a large extent to what he's doing now is really bringing humanity together.
Right.
And this also goes in line with the planet Pluto, which represents power, that is going to be entering into Aquarius in 2024. What we're seeing now, the last stages of Pluto in Capricorn rules the hierarchical structures. We're seeing those structures starting to crumble, to really make way for that Pluto in Aquarius, which is going to be so much more democratic.
I keep thinking Navalny, that guy he arrested, my guides are showing me at some point, I'm seeing him holding a political office in Russia at some point.
I don't know if I'm picking that up, but all I pick up is I think he'll be released from prison whenever Putin's gone. But I think that poison that Putin gave him and all those horrible conditions he's been in prison has really taken a number on his body.
I kind of think he's going to be like a Nelson Mandela, in South Africa, apartheid locked him up. And when he got out of jail, I don't know if he became president. Or back in the 80s, Lech Walesa of Poland. Lech Walesa was the Polish guy who started trade unions in Poland. And then when Karol Wojtyła, who later became Pope John Paul II, was totally against communism. And so it was that Lech Walesa movement that ultimately brought about the downfall of communism in Poland, and ultimately brought about that whole chain reaction that caused the breakup of the Soviet Union. So I think he's going to be influential to that degree. That's what I see. He might not hold office, but the leadership, like of Lech Walesa, it's going to be amazing. So we haven't heard the end of Navalny.
I agree.
And if Putin kills him, that's even going to make it worse.
Yeah.
So,
or if anything were to happen to Zelensky.
Oh yeah. That's not going to be good either. I see Zelensky getting some kind of big prize, like a Nobel Peace Prize or something, as well as Navalny at some point.
Yeah,
he's really a hero, and it really stepped up. I think this was part of his karmic journey to really lead at this time.
Yeah, Kevin, you're exactly right. Zelensky has a lot of retrograde planets in his astrology chart, and the retrograde planets in the natal chart, they indicate situations that are brought over from the past in which the individual needs to resolve. And one of those is his Saturn in Leo. So what we're seeing with a Saturn in Leo in retrograde is the need to really rise to the occasion when it comes to really being tested. A Saturn in retrograde gives you a certain situation in this life in which you really haven't like rising up to your tests. And so what's happening here, it's in Leo, and Leo is all about kingship and rulership. So with this Saturn in Leo, he's given deep inner wisdom and inner guidance to really be and do the right thing. But he really needs to listen to that guidance to really get things done right this time and really rise to the occasion.
Okay. What about Trump's chart? I gotta hear this one.
Yeah, so
I wrote Trump in big letters. I gotta hear this one.
Yeah, I'm curious as well.
So Trump has really strong Gemini aspects in his chart. And if we remember, Trump used to be a Democrat. So Gemini is all about duality. It's logic versus reason. So Trump has a really strong 10th house in his astrology chart. And the 10th house indicates fame. It indicates the public image. It indicates fortune. It indicates success. He has his sun sign, which is his ego structure, sitting in that 10th house, and it's sitting next to the North Node. So the North Node is the karmic direction. A Sun North Node conjunction indicates special privileges. Someone born with perhaps a golden spoon. So sitting next to that Sun North Node conjunction in the 10th house, he also has the planet Uranus, which is all about earthquakes and all about instability. And when you get that in Gemini, this guy has a forceful ego, and he's causing earthquakes and instability wherever he goes. And it's pretty much his way or the highway.
He's like Putin to that degree.
Yeah.
He is like Putin. However, his karma played out a little differently. as far as the Pluto aspects. He also has Pluto in Leo, just like Putin. And again, Pluto is all about the power structures, and Leo is all about the idea of the kingship and the rulership and the autocracy. However, his Pluto in Leo, thank goodness, was not as strong as Putin's.
You said something about Trump and his chart fame. I call it notoriety. It's about misusing his power. And what does this chart show about his downfall? If it shows that indeed.
Yeah, so Trump was born with a lot of these really flowing Jupiter aspects, which provided him a lot of luck in a lot of situations. What we're seeing now with Trump's transits, we're seeing a lot of Saturn energy starting to come, and Saturn is the Lord of Karma. So this really indicates that in the last years of Trump's life, he's really going to be having to face, the Lord of Karma. He's having to face everything that he did incorrectly.
Good. You know what they say about karma, right?
It's a biatch.
Yes.
Yeah. He also has Pluto in the 12th house. And again, Pluto's power and the 12th house can also be self-undoing. So that's the self-undoing of one's power with that aspect.
Does it show anything about him being indicted?
Anything having to do with those Saturn aspects, right? Long trials, courts, any upsets with the law. He's just, with these aspects, he's just going to keep getting called out again and again and again. The energies of Saturn move slowly, but justice will be served eventually.
Yay. I think, Kevin, you've seen that too. So do I, actually.
I see indictments. I've never felt Trump actually going to jail, but he hasn't been with it. He's had a cognitive decline for a while, and I see he might use that as an excuse to get out of any jail time. I think he might end up in a facility of some kind.
Yeah, Kevin, you're also exactly right, because he has the planet Neptune in retrograde in his chart. So Neptune can be illusions and delusions. And when Neptune goes negatively retrograde in your astrology chart, one can get so wrapped up in their delusional fantasy world that they actually believe it's reality.
I just pulled a card for him. I wanted to see what it was. And it's the 7 of Cups, which means illusion, delusion, illusion.
I think that describes him pretty well.
Perfect.
It's right in, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get back to Biden's chart. Would it predict another win for him for president? By the way, back to T. Rump. I don't see a long life for him.
I don't either.
I see indictments, absolutely. And people around him, close around him, indicted, especially for the insurrection. But I just never see him going to jail. So I agree.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I feel like that could be a contributing factor to him not going to jail too. But he could spend some time in a facility before he does pass. But I agree, it doesn't feel too long in the future.
Could that be a nursing home like or something?
Yeah, some kind of locked up facility, I think.
He's got to watch his head. I keep feeling head issues with him. Could be a stroke. Okay, go ahead.
I'm also seeing that Trump actually on one level, he actually has a really high level of intuition, right? And I'm seeing him kind of reap the negative karmic consequences, and thus in turn turning him kind of insane because of it. So Kevin, what you said about the mental facility, that could be a real possibility.
Well, he is a sociopath and a malignant narcissist, as is Putin. So, when people, when Trump can't stand it, when, the truth comes out about him or when he loses. And so I think, his ego will be his demise.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, So Biden's chart, what do you, I mean, does it show another win? What does it show for Biden as far as longevity? Win? What does it show?
So what I'm seeing for Biden is he has strongly karmic predestinational, excuse me, that's a word. He has strong karmic points in his chart that have really been the hallmarks of him doing specific things. He has wonderful Jupiter aspects indicating grace and indicating a real like spiritual sense of wanting like goodness for humanity.
My husband's crawling. Gary, you can stand up and go outside. I'm like, is he crawling? He doesn't want to get in the fray. He's got his pajama bottoms on. I'm like, is that the dog? I'm like, this is my husband. Yeah, all right, I'm sorry. You guys would probably see that in the frame. I'm like, what is going on here?
I didn't actually, but
I'm thinking, Lucky, my dog's name was Lucky. How you changed? I'm sorry, Adam, go ahead.
Oh, that's fine. So what I also see with Biden is in Vedic astrology, his nakshatra, which is the sign that your moon is when you were, it's the sign that your moon was in when you were born. His nakshatra lies in Ashwini, and Ashwini is all about the first like it's the first nakshatra. So it's all about the introduction into something that is going to be longer lasting. So how I see that is that there definitely is a possibility that he could be the president again. However, I see him as the beginning of the opening up of the energy for perhaps a female president. Right? Or for another really progressive type of president to happen out of this. Like he's acting as sort of the foundation for the entrance into the age of Aquarius.
Got it.
Yeah.
Where's Putin's Ashwini? He doesn't have one.
Yeah, Putin, he's leaving.
Kevin,
Bye.
what's your take on Biden? Do you see him getting reelected?
You know, it's always interesting. I've always felt him stepping down at some point and Kamala taking over for a little bit. I feel like it's his second term, like he does get elected, or it's at the very end of his last term. But I think he will get reelected. And I think Kamala will come in and finish out his term. I'm not feeling anything bad happen to Biden, but I think he needs to take a break for a little bit. But that's really interesting what Adam said, because I do think that Biden is the start of a lot of really progressive changes that are going to be happening. And I think it's around 2024, 2025. We're going to get a lot of progress. And I think Kamala will take the lead and take over for the very strong possibility.
You know, Linda Grindle had said something big is going to happen. We maybe thought it was something else, but it wasn't, like those tornadoes, but it's going to pull everybody together. You know, Trump's base will still be his base, the little small group of fascists that they are. And I think this Ukrainian thing is just that. It'll bring his popularity up. And it's funny, when I saw him give a State of the Union address, that many Republicans, when he was talking about Ukraine, stood up and clapped. And we haven't seen that in a very long time. So,
right.
You know, I do see it coming together. And I see two different political parties coming with the Republicans, the Trumplicans and some old order Republicans, you know, like
I think eventually the Democratic Party is going to kind of fracture like that too. We'll have multi-party system. But that feels like it's a decade out. It's a while out there.
What I see is a different political party coming other than, you know, the Trumplican Republican thing, but I think more like a progressive workers party.
Yeah.
That will do very well. So, anyway. And I guess final question is, what about the USA? Did you do a chart for America at all?
I did do USA chart. So the chart of the USA is, you know, July 4th, 1776. So what we're seeing is the moon in Aquarius again, which is all about those humanitarian ideals. The sun sign is in Cancer, which is, you know, again, are, you know, very patriotic. very domestic. However, what I'm seeing here is the North Node, which is the karmic direction, and that's in the eighth house. And the eighth house is, it's all about using other people's resources. So what I'm really seeing here is kind of some leftover karma, perhaps, from the misuse of Native Americans that the U.S.
and people of color.
Yeah. So I'm seeing some misuse of energy that is really needing to be cleared up really badly right now before we can have a smoother transition into that Pluto in Aquarius.
What do you think, Kevin?
Oh, I agree. And
Actually,
from all the hard times that we've had to deal with, especially with Trump, we are in an awakening period right now. And you kind of need that negative nastiness to happen, to be aware, to know that, it's time to make changes. So it was needed for us to help transition and get into a more progressive place.
I think what's going on in Ukraine is a warning, not for the Ukrainians. It's a warning to Russia too. I mean, to us, because it could very easily happen here, and it almost did.
Yeah.
With the information, I am convinced. My guides show me that Putin and Trump were in proverbial bed together, because Trump was anti-NATO and and that's from Putin's playbook. He wanted to weaken NATO, and Trump almost succeeded.
Well, and I think that's why he's surprised too. I think he thought he did enough damage to NATO that he could go into Ukraine and get away with it. Wow. But, he underestimated it, because the world's really come together, and I think NATO's stronger than ever right now.
Some people say if Trump had gotten reelected, Putin would have invaded Ukraine. He didn't need to, because he had Trump to weaken NATO, but I think he would have still invaded. I just don't think Trump would have done anything.
Right.
But I just feel this war is going to be contained, but it's going to go on a long time. So
yeah, and I'm definitely seeing that with these heavy Saturn transits.
Because once people get a taste of democracy and freedom, you can't take it away. They'll fight.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. So is the moon the keeper of intuition?
Yeah. So the moon rules dreams, it rules intuition, and it sets the emotional tone. So that being said, the United States has the moon in Aquarius, which is all about the democratic, freedom-oriented tone. Ukraine has the same moon sign.
So that means there'll be democracy there, which is what I see.
Oh yeah. And they, with that strong first house, that Ukraine has, they're really learning to be independent, and they're really learning to be fierce. And with their highly aspected Pluto, they are not just going to give up their power.
It's not going to happen. Oh my goodness, this has been so cool. Let's do this again sometime, if the two of you are in agreement.
Yeah, of course. I had a fun time.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, the energy floated was really neat. So here again, everybody, thank you. If you want to get a hold of Kevin, how do they do it?
My channel is Kevin's Loving Vibrations, and you can email me at kevinlovingvibrations@gmail.com.
Okay, Adam?
So my YouTube is Adam Stargazing Astrology, and you can get a hold of me at Adam Astro 777. That's ADAMASTRO 777 at gmail.com.
Adam has never done my chart, but I can tell when I first saw him on Kevin's channel and from tonight, this man really knows his stuff. So I would suggest, if you're having hardships in your life, or you need to kind of figure out transits or progress charts, which is like different than your natal chart.
Yeah.
Give him a call.
He did my natal chart. He did an excellent job. It was very interesting. I'm not so versed in astrology, although I find it interesting. It's like another language for me, but I think Adam explained it really well, and it was really good.
You did a great job translating it. Thank you. That's important. People need
Yeah.
to get that. One quick question. What does Moon in Scorpio mean?
I have
Okay,
a moon in
so-
Scorpio.
All right.
But I have a moon in Scorpio. I'm sorry, I'm not. Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
so
Matt.
so Mel, your moon's in Scorpio.
Yes.
Okay, so Kevin, you also have a Scorpio moon too.
Yes.
Okay, so whenever you get the moon, which rules intuition, it rules moods, it rules feelings. Whenever you get that in a water sign, and Scorpio is a water sign, it heightens the intuition. So Scorpio is all about depth of feeling and intensity of feeling. So the moon in Scorpio is a water sign with a strong intuition and the power to regenerate itself. The emotions can run really intense in Scorpio, because that's just how Scorpio energies are. It's really good for focus, really good for concentration. Someone with the moon in Scorpio, they can view life through a lens of intensity because you're getting a water sign, and that water sign is ruled by the planet Mars and the planet Pluto. So when you get Pluto, which is all about transformation and power, you get Mars, it's all about action. You put that in a water sign, you get like a warrior type of person.
It's me.
Sorry, Mel. I got excited that we were twinning.
Hey, we're twins, right?
Yes.
All right. You know what? This has been so much fun. We'll do it again. Gentlemen, what can I say? I loved it. Anyway,
Yeah. Thank you.
Here's to Poopkin. Or as I end up saying, Puck Putin. I'm not going to jail for that. And namaste. Hang on, I'm just going to turn the recording off and we'll talk, okay?
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. You.
See how I do this. Pause.